Hey folks, Iolair here. Today is Thursday, November 26th. Wargaming has announced on the development blog 3 new ships that are coming to system testing in update 0.10.0. But before I get to that, I first want to extend a very happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the United States. And secondly, I want to remind folks that I am holding 2 giveaways. The details of which are in this video in the upper right hand corner of your screen now. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below as well. All of the details as far as what I'm giving away, deadlines for entry, how to enter are in that video. In fact, the entries or entering into those giveaways is done against that video, not against this one. In short, you have one deadline, which is tomorrow, Friday, November 27th at 23:59 UTC. The deadline for the second giveaway is Monday, November 30th at 23:59 Pacific time on the west coast of North America. I'm giving away CC containers, subscriber camo packs, and some doubloons. All right, so getting to the main article, the 3 ships here are the Tier 8 French battleship Flanders, the Tier 10 German aircraft carrier Maximilian, and the Tier 10 U.S. Navy light cruiser, the USS Austin. Again, everything on the blog is subject to change, and that definitely applies here. Newly announced ships definitely go through a series of changes before they are finalized. So starting with the Tier 8 French battleship, she is based on the Alsace. She will fire 9 380mm guns, so she will have a 3x3 turret layout. She will have adjusted AA, and she's characterized as having good survivability, effective AA defense, and better main battery accuracy than the Alsace. For the Tier 10 German aircraft carrier, she is based on the Richthofen. She is largely the same with 2 notable differences. She will have better AA, and she will carry skip bombers with HE bombs instead of carrying torpedo bombers. And then for the Tier 10 U.S. Navy light cruiser USS Austin, she's kind of a Atlanta on steroids, excuse me. She's based on a design proposal that was not implemented by the U.S. Navy. They obviously got far enough in the design specs to give these ships designations, in this case CL-154, but none of these ships, as far as I know, were built. They were designed to be AA platforms. She will fire 12 127mm guns. She will have torpedoes on each side of the ship. She will fire HE and SAP shells, so no AP. She will get 1 charge of main battery reload booster, which is actually a buffed version that will improve her reload by 75% instead of the standard 50%. Obviously, she will have good AA, and she will have defensive fire and hydro. She will not carry radar per the current implementation design. All right, so some details on these ships. So for the French battleship, she indeed does have good survivability at Tier 8 with 75,400 hit points. Again, she will fire 9 380mm guns. The range will be 20 kilometers. Shell ballistics should be very similar or identical to other upper tier French battleships. 830 meters per second is very quick. Should be some very flat firing guns. Reload is 33 seconds and turret traverse is 36 seconds. Dispersion is 262 meters at maximum range, and Sigma will be 1.8, which is quite a bit better than the Alsace. Secondary armament will be identical, from what I can tell, to the Alsace. So for those of you who like running secondary builds on your upper tier French battleships, that looks like a viable option here. With a base range of 7 kilometers, you'll be able to get the secondaries out beyond 10 kilometers. AA does indeed look relatively good. Good continuous damage across most of the ranges. Short range is not quite as strong. Maximum range on the AA is 5.8 kilometers. Speed on the ship, the maneuverability should be quite good. 33.5 knots is very quick for a battleship at this tier, or frankly any tier. Turning circle and rudder shift are normal or typical for battleships at 910 meters and 16.6 seconds respectively. And detection looks pretty typical for a Tier 8 battleship. Now she will be rather, well, limited in her consumable choices. She will carry only repair party and damage control. Per the current design, that means she will not have access to a plane. She will not have access to speed boost or the reload booster. But again, everything is subject to change. This is the initial implementation proposal for this ship. So for those of you who like the French battleships, she still looks quite exciting. For the Tier 10 German aircraft carrier, she looks nearly identical to the Richthofen as far as her hit points, her secondary armament, her detectability, her speed, her maneuverability. The main differences here are her AA is quite a bit stronger, or significantly stronger, and she will carry skip bombers instead of torpedo bombers. But the attack aircraft and the dive bombers will be identical, from what I can tell, to what the Richthofen or the upgraded versions of those planes are on the Richthofen. So again, for those of you who like the German aircraft carriers, this looks like an interesting ad. For those of you who dislike aircraft carriers, I'm sure this is not very, is not something you're looking forward to. Let me put it that way. All right. Last but not least, the U.S. Navy light cruiser USS Austin, relatively small hit point, in fact, very small hit point pool for Tier 10. 30,700 is, about what we see at Tier 7 for most cruisers. Main battery, 12 127 millimeter guns. Base firing range is 15 kilometers. Now, because of the smaller caliber, she will be able to use AFT to extend her range, which would get it out to 18 kilometers. However, the shell performance looks pretty floaty. 808 meters per second is not quite as slow as the Atlanta, but these still should be pretty floaty shells. It definitely looks like one of these sort of island huggers, lob over terrain sort of play styles. Hitting something with such slow shells could be a challenge beyond 15 kilometers. So until people are able to play this and we can get some public view of this, it's going to be hard to tell whether extending the range is going to make sense here. We'll have to see. Reload on the guns is 8 seconds. Sigma and dispersion are very good. Sigma is 2.05. Dispersion is 137 meters at maximum range. I mentioned that she carries torpedoes. These are very good torpedoes. These are from the Fletcher. They have a very good alpha at 19,033. The range is 10.5 kilometers. Speed is 66 knots. Reload is 106 seconds. So some very usable torpedoes. In fact, when I get to her concealment, she definitely will be able to stealth torpedo if she wants. AA defense looks pretty strong, as one would expect as a ship that's designed to be an AA platform. Interestingly, she has no short-range AA. It's all medium and long. The continuous damage looks pretty strong. Maximum range is 6 kilometers. So she's going to create a pretty large AA bubble around her, which, again, for those of you who don't like carriers, this might be something to look forward to. Speed is excellent at 35 knots. This is going to be a quick cruiser, almost like a light cruiser, almost like a large destroyer, excuse me. The turning circle radius is also very small for a cruiser at 670 meters. Rudder shift is very good at 7.7 seconds for a cruiser. The base concealment is 11.9 kilometers. And depending on how Wargaming rounds the modifiers, her best concealment will be either 9.3 or 9.4 kilometers. And with 10.5 kilometer range torpedoes, again, she will definitely be able to stealth torpedo. All right, she is very rich in consumables, obviously carries damage control like all ships. She will carry defensive fire and hydro. She will have this buffed version of the main battery reload booster that will improve her reload by 75%. That should allow her to get off 4 salvos when she activates it. But she only, right now, per the current design, only gets 1 charge of this. And therefore, with Superintendent, she'd be able to get 2. And then she will carry the repair party consumable. And again, she will not have radar. So those are some details on some very interesting looking ships that are coming to the game. There are no details in here about how these ships will be acquirable. Generally, Tier 10 ships are either coal or steel or research points. The Tier 8 ships are typically either for money or, like real currency or doubloons or whatever. But again, there's no details in here about how we might be able to acquire these ships or even when they might be available. But like I said, some very interesting potential adds to the game. So let me know your thoughts about these ships in the comments below. And again, please do remember to get entered into the giveaways. Deadline is coming up very soon. Again, go to that video to enter into those giveaways. Don't enter here against this video. And lastly, again, have a great Thanksgiving for folks in the U.S. who are celebrating that. And as always, we hope to see you out there on the virtual seas, and we wish you happy sailing.